markdown and operating profit, or possibly an operating loss, depending on what the markdown actually is. Now, if you like, you can watch my video on markups, where I actually go over and explain what those are, because that ties in to this video. So in markdowns, what we have, if you look here on these two kind of rectangular figures, what I'm trying to show you here is, let's imagine that this entire price, say from 0 to some amount here that I have, that is your regular selling price. All right, so this is your regular selling price. And in the video on markups, I used selling price S, okay, to designate this. Here, let's say because it is the regular price, I'll just put RP, okay, just for convenience. And I mentioned that this particular price was made up of basically three components inside of it. So you had some costs, okay, so you have to actually purchase or make the product. You would have some operating expenses, and then finally you would add a profit on top of that, and that would constitute your regular selling price that you have. Okay, so it's made out of these three components. Now, on occasion, what happens is that for whatever reason, you may want to reduce the regular price. So you're going to subtract, so minus, okay, a certain portion, and it depends on how big and how small you may want to have it, and that will designate your markdown. So markdown is nothing else but simply, okay, a reduction in price that you have. Now that reduction in price, okay, so you can call it markdown, reduction, a sale, okay, so sometimes you may call it even a trade, kind of a discount, depending if it's maybe between different companies. So it's some kind of a discount that you have. And now this discount, okay, so will be subtracted. So obviously, if it's kind of one-to-one, okay, so if it's I'll draw this right here, and then draw this right here. So that would reduce your price and it would cut into your profits here in some portion, and possibly it might cut into your profit so much that you won't make any profit. And that, okay, so right there, whatever's you have left over, that would be referred to as your sale price that you have. And now let's take a look and kind of write it as a formula for ourselves. So the sale price is basically equal to your regular selling price. So this right here. So I'm going to write that right there. So it's your regular selling price, or just S if you like. And it is subtracting, so minus the markdown that you have. All right, so this would be subtracting your markdown. Now I have to be careful to not maybe use M, because typically M is used for markups. So I'll just write markdown as it is, okay, and then finish off this formula. So what we basically have as you're going through this, so we have our regular price minus. Now this particular markdown, so it is typically given, so this right here, it is given typically as a percent. And then that percent will get converted back into decimal. And it is a price from, okay, your regular price. So it's a discounted price that you have. So technically that markdown is really the discount that you get, which is multiplied by your regular selling price. All right, so this is basically the amount of discount that you receive, or the markdown amount of discount. And if you've watched the video on trade discounts, then this should all make sense. It's basically a reduction in price. And when you're doing this, okay, and you kind of take a look at the math, because we have regular price here and regular price here, I'm not going to go into detail, but basically the sale price is equal to, you can simplify the above formula, make your life a lot easier. It is just 1 minus the discount as a decimal multiplied by your regular selling price. And this would be your overall formula for your markdown, where this right here, okay, represents the discount as a markdown. And it is in decimal format. So you have converted the percent back into decimal. All right, so if it was 10%, it would have been 0.1. So that sounds all nice. Hopefully this picture makes sense to you, that you're just reducing the price and your sale price is obviously different and it's lower than your regular selling price. And now we can use this formula to calculate our sale price if necessary. Now, what I wanted to point out to you also, and I will show you an example shortly, and that is kind of this operating profit, okay, or possibly an operating loss. So that depends on how much of a discount you have given. And what we do is the operating, so profit, or possibly an operating loss, so that will depend on what happens to the math. So this is equal to, okay, your sale price, so whatever you're actually selling your item for. If you had no discount, then your sale price would have been just your regular selling price, and minus your total costs. Okay, so minus your total costs. And if you may remember, so if you watched the markup video, your total costs, okay, so these total costs that we have, so this right here is just equal to, okay, so the cost that you pay per item, so that right there, okay, so that's the cost for making or purchasing the item, plus, okay, of course you still have your operating expenses. So your operating expenses is right there. So that would be your total cost. And it should make sense to you that whatever you sell the item for, minus all the costs that you had, would give you your profit or possibly loss if you have reduced the price too much. So let's see this in action. All right, so here's an example that I have. So a company is selling an item for $135. So that's what we have. So this would be your regular price. So let's maybe write that in here. So I'm going to write given. So my regular price, or just S for selling price, is equal to $135. Now, due to overstock, the company decides to provide a markdown. So we have a markdown of 30%. So we have a markdown. Now that markdown as a decimal is D. Okay, so 30%. If you change it back into decimal by dividing by 100, you're going to get 0.3. So that's your markdown. And this is off of your regular price. Now it says, if you know that the original cost to the company, so here the original cost to the company was $78. All right. So my original cost, C, okay, was $78. So maybe we've purchased or we've created or made this item. So that was our cost. And now it says that the overhead was 14% of the regular price. All right, well, so overhead, which is your operating expenses, that equals to, and now it's telling us it is 14% of your regular price. Now we actually know that already, so this is going to be 0.14 as a decimal of is multiplied, and the regular price is $135. So we can actually find what this is to work it out. And now, okay, so let me just punch that into the calculator. So I have 0.14 multiplied by 135. So that's $18.90. All right. So let me write it in. I'll put it to the cent right there. So that's my expenses. So I have my cost and I have my expenses. Now let's answer the questions that they are asking me. So first, they say, what was the sale price of the item? All right. So based on what we did, so this is part A, the sale price is equal to, and just recall, so we have our formula right there. So right here, it is 1 minus the discount, which is the 30%, and it is multiplied by the regular price, which was 135. So my sale price right there is, I'm going to just clear this, 1 minus 0.3, all in brackets, times 135, and that was $94.50. All right, so that's my sale price. So now let's take a look what else they're asking me here. So I will go back here. B, find the total cost. All right, well, total cost is your cost of purchase and your operating expenses. Now, we actually know both of these. So that's my cost and that's my expenses that I have. So for part B, I can say that my total cost is equal to $78 plus the $18.19. So I can calculate that through. So 78 plus, let me switch this over on the other side. Oops, it is 78 plus 18.90, and that is $96.90. Okay, so that's great. Now we know our total cost. And if you're looking at the sale price and the total cost, you will notice, uh-oh, we're in a little bit of trouble. I think we reduced this too much. But now companies sometimes do reduce it more because they just, if they're going to lose, sometimes it's better to lose a little than lose a lot. So the last question here is asking us about operating profit. So we have here, so is this an operating profit or loss? And based on our equation, that's the sale price minus the total costs that I have. And in that case, so this would be part C. So operating, okay, now I can kind of cheat a little bit because I already know my sale price and my total costs. So this is actually going to be a loss. So 94.50, that's my sale price minus 96.90, and I'm going to be, unfortunately, okay, at a loss here. So the loss may not be too much, but nevertheless, it's still a loss. So that's 96. Let me see this 96.90. So I am losing on each item, okay, $2.40. Okay, so that is a loss. All right, so with this example and what you have seen here with the markdown and operating profit, I think this video is useful for anybody who wants to understand markdowns a little bit and then what happens. I do encourage you to watch the markup video, okay, and this along with the markdown, okay, would help you quite a bit. All right, okay, so that is it. Thank you for watching. Okay, have a great day.